Hi, Jenny here. And are you even a celebrity if you don't have a published autobiography? I mean, what can you say? So, I enjoy reading celebrity autobiographies because often they are very easy to read, and if I'm interested in the person, I'm usually entertained about learning about their life. But oftentimes, I've seen that celebrity autobiographies can be a bit like, look how I made it type of writing. So I thought I'd introduce five that I think have something special to them, in my opinion. Please let me know if you've read these ones. And I'm still sick, so I'm sorry about my voice or presence or whatever. Okay, let's get into it. The first one I will bring up is Lauren Graham, Talking as Fast as I Can. And it's been a few years since I read this one, but I remember there being this kind of ease and comfort while reading this. I guess because it reminded me a lot of the wittiness and comfort that Gilmore Girls brought me, even though obviously this is about Lauren herself, not her character. And I think what makes this special is how deeply she goes into her acting career, not just Gilmore Girls, but also Gilmore Girls, very deeply into that, but also her time in theater and on Parenthood. And I think that's really interesting to learn. And obviously, there are also personal stories and anecdotes, but what I really remember from reading this was how she reflected on her career. What I really liked regarding Gilmore Girls is, first of all, even though it was such a huge success and big part of Graham's career, obviously I like that she still is proud of it and claims it, because I feel like there may be many actresses who might not claim what brought them their big break. And what I really liked is she had divided the filming of Gilmore Girls into the seasons and always talked about like the specific parts of the season, and for example fashion and hair and so on. So I would suggest that if you are interested in hearing about Lauren Graham's acting career and inside view on Gilmore Girls, I would suggest picking this up. The next book that I want to talk about is In the Country We Love by Diane Guerrero. Diane Guerrero is a Colombian American actress. She was on Orange is the New Black, Jane the Virgin, and most recently in Encanto as the voice of Isabel. I personally found her through Jane the Virgin. And in this book, she reflects on how having undocumented family members in the United States impacted her life, and when they sadly eventually get deported back to Colombia after trying to pursue citizenship, and how it impacted Diane. She was 14 at the time and she was left alone while the rest of her family had to go back to Colombia, and how it impacted in her life later on as an adult, how it impacted her mental health. And I feel like that's a very important story to hear, and how this is a very common experience in the United States, but it's not widely talked about, especially by celebrities. So I think that's why I really thought this was a informative read and something different from other celebrity stories. This was written with Michelle Burford, but I really liked how Diane's own voice was clear in this. If you want to learn more about immigration policy in the United States and how it impacts families, I would recommend reading this. And I feel like a lot of people may think, well, she's a celebrity, she had it easier than other families, and I don't know, maybe, but when everything happened, she was only 14, and because she was born in New Jersey, she had a American citizenship. So I think it's worth reading her experience with everything and may learn more about immigration and ICE and everything in the United States. Next one that I want to talk about is Ali Wong's Dear Girls. So Ali Wong has had comedy special, and she's a stand-up comedian, and she also made the romantic comedy Always Be My Maybe. It's one of my favorite romantic comedies. It's so sweet and fun. So when I saw that she had a book, I really wanted to read it, and I think what makes this special is how funny it is. Ali Wong is a really funny person, and I really like how she delivers them. And I also like the format of this book, how she is talking to her daughters, and it gets pretty. It's funny, but it gets pretty profane at times. Girl, yes, that's one of the reasons why I love this book, because it's so funny and entertaining, and it has great reflection on what is it like to be a female comedian, but also a female Asian comedian, a woman of color. But at the end of the day, it's still a funny read. It's not preachy or like, look at how hard I've had type of reading. The next one that I want to talk about is Tina Turner, the autobiography, My Love Story. And I think this is special because it kind of is the final narrative and candid look into Tina Turner's basically awful experience with her former husband, who shall not be named. And I feel like it's important because it's her perspective, it's her telling the story, it's on her terms, and not any tabloid, any magazine, journalist, interviewer. It's her. And what I thought that was interesting is in this book is that she then continues to talk about her life in Switzerland and some of her health complications. I think it was very brave of her to talk about those as well, but also talk about like the happiness that she has now in Switzerland with her new husband. And I think the My Love Story describes the book well. However, it is quite upsetting to read what she had to go through earlier in life, but she really she got through it and now gets to thrive despite everything that happened. So it's been a few years since I've read this book, but I would recommend reading this first and then watching the Tina Turner documentary that she did earlier this year or last year. And yes, I like this one as well. And last but definitely not least is Sorry Not Sorry, Dreams, Mistakes and Growing Up by Naya Rivera. Naya Rivera was obviously known from Glee as Santana Lopez, but she started out as a child actress in some of sitcoms like The Royal Family, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then after Glee she had some cameos in different shows, and she was one of the lead character actors in Step Up High Water, but obviously that came to hold. Naya Rivera passed away in 2020, sadly, by drowning after she saved her son Josie's life. So having that perspective obviously made reading this quite upsetting, because it was written in 2016, and oftentimes Naya would talk about like, you never know when's your last day, and I can't wait to be old, and so on. So that was obviously upsetting. But what I thought that made this very special, not only because it's Naya, but because she talks about debt, she talks about money, which I did not expect at all. So basically, she goes into depth what it's like to be a child actress and then for the first time obtain the money that she made as a child actress, and how everything went downhill basically. I really recommend reading this because of such candidness and like honesty, like, yeah, I fucked up with money and this is how I got through it. And I like that each chapter, let me find it first, I like that each chapter ends with a list of what she's apologetic for and what she is not apologetic for. I also thought Naya talking about her personal experience about being multiracial in the United States and not feeling enough. In her own words, her mother is African American and Puerto Rican, and her father is Puerto Rican and German. So she talks about being of that background and how how it impacted her life. And obviously race in the United States is a big topic to discuss, but hearing her personal experience was really interesting and something that probably many people relate to. Naya talks a lot about her time on Glee, if you are interested in that. She also talks about time from high school to after graduating high school and figuring out what she wants to do as an actress, if she wants to be an actress, before Glee happened. And yeah, she gets very candid and honest about everything that went on. And what I might have liked is hearing about like her future plans. At the time she had just become a new mother, so obviously she probably wanted to end the book on a happy, wholesome note about being a mother and a wife and having a happy family experience after everything. But I would have liked to hear more about her plans about, okay, what's next regarding acting. She talked a little bit about music, and I know some of her tracks were on SoundCloud. It would have been nice to hear about that as well. But overall, if you are a Glee fan, I would definitely recommend reading this, and you probably have. I'm quite late to reading this. But also, if you want to read a candid experience about being a child actress and then turning into a big Hollywood success, I would also recommend it for that as well. Alright, those were my 5 celebrity autobiographies that I would recommend reading. What are your favorite celebrity autobiographies? I would love to hear your opinion and recommendations. If you want to see more videos about books and pop culture overall, please subscribe to my channel and like the video and comments as well. And I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!